We're live, everybody. Oh my gosh. We're live. So, Dad, why don't you tell everybody about this very special event we have happening before our eyes right now?
Well, this is one of the most important inductions we've done, in my estimation. I would have to call them the first family of Nebraska music, and we're going to induct Carol Rogers, Ronnie Beck, Keith Rogers, and then their brother Donnie, who passed away, and then their mother Carol. Or I'm sorry, their mother Jean, who's in Omaha. But let's start out and bring each one in.
Okay, so let's play a little bit of Carol video. Here's a little shot of video. I'm gonna share this screen so we can get a little taste of this wonderment. This is beautiful right here. Hold on just a second. Let me get it going. All right. This would now I'll let her explain this, but this is the Tonight Show in '88 with Sergio Mendes and Brazil.
Is it the second one, Mike?
Huh?
Is it the second video I sent you?
I believe so. Let's check it out.
All right.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Is that not playing right? Sorry, is that not playing?
It's not.
Okay, sorry. 1 second here. Let me find it.
All right.
All right, y'all. 1 second.
Okay.
Technical difficulties here. 1 second. Let's get the right one. All right, here it comes. Is this the right one, Dad? Does that look right to you?
No, I'll never forget you. No matter how hard I try. No, I'll even be a fool for you, baby. Just before you say goodbye. Tell me one more time. Tell me one more time. Just before you go. Tell me.
Yeah. Oh, they're getting funky.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a little bit of Carol Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. So, Dad, I'll let you take over. We do need to make sure Carol's microphone is unmuted if possible. There's a little there you go. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get her on now. This is Carol Rogers in the flesh. Here we go. Hi, Carol.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hello,
good.
Carol.
Hey, how are you? What an amazing occasion. Thank you so much. And thank you for being undaunted about and
Mike,
passionate about this time.
Is your audio okay?
My audio should.
Yep, I can hear her fine. Yeah.
All right, now we go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carol. Undaunted is a good word for this thing. You know, there's a lot of technical things. So yeah, boy, that was an incredible video of you on the Tonight Show. Unbelievable, lady. Unbelievable.
I was so young.
Well, you're beautiful now. That's
time.
wonderful. You're
Good.
beautiful then. You're beautiful now. Thanks for joining us today. Now, Dad, how do you want to do it? You want to show a little Ronnie Beck?
Yeah, let's show a little bit of Ronnie on his drum part is about 3 minutes in, or you can play the whole thing. It's about 4.5 minutes.
Okay, we'll watch a little bit of the official Ronnie Beck video, the new
Ronnie
music
with
video. It's
Tower
called.
Power in the mid to late 70s.
This is from his official music video called Rainbows, the one I have.
Oh, you're
Dad.
doing this is his new video, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's watch this. Let's check this out. Yeah. Let's watch a little bit of this.
I wanna sing to you about love. I wanna sing to you about life. Listen, when I'm with you, they look at me. Out the corner of their eye, a casual glance becomes a stare. We both know the reasons why. It's black and white, what's wrong is right. Must be the part of town we're in. It shouldn't mean a thing to them. Mulatto, Caucasian, Latino, Eurasian, Aboriginal, American, Islamic, or Christian. One love, one life, we live, I give. It's all about the skin we're in. You see, we can't change the rainbow. Why would you try? Rain falls on all of us, or while the sun lights up the sky. It's every millennium. For things to change, it starts within.
All right, yeah, that's a little Ronnie Beck's new taste from Ronnie. That's amazing. If y'all want to hear the full thing, go download it because I don't want to get this video shut down for publications reasons or something like that.
Yeah.
Even though he's on the video himself. So, but yeah, that's amazing. Wow, I love that. I love that hook. That's really good stuff. Very cool. Well, let's, Dad, go ahead.
Well, let's bring in Ronnie Beck.
Oh, here's Ronnie Beck, y'all. Hey, Ronnie.
He's in the area.
What's up, sis?
A day in paradise, baby.
All right. Yeah,
incredible video, man. I loved it. That's cool.
You know what's funny about that? Because Mike Senior, you were talking about going to this Tower Power back in the 70s. I had a guy tell me one time, the studio owner, I gave my bio and I was talking about all the stuff that I had done over the years. He said, "Man, this is really nice, but you look like a dinosaur." And I wasn't offended. I wasn't. I said, "Okay, so what you're saying to me is like I need to be talking about what I'm doing now."
Yeah.
Still in the present. I mean, I'm not resting on my laurels. I'm still out here. My new CD is called Ronnie Beck, Still Grinding.
Nice.
Okay, so that's dropping here in probably next month. And
very cool. Very cool.
Copy that.
So was that video we just watched? Was that on the new release?
It is. That's the first single.
Oh, that's the single. Okay, cool. Very cool. Awesome. And I assume that'll be on all your platforms, Spotify, iTunes, all that goodie.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna wait and see what they pay me.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
I know a lot of people that got all that. I mean, actually, I know some young people that have kind of learned how to monetize their downloads and stuff. But you know, I get little tiny checks every now and then. I got to try to build that up a little, do some stacking some racks as a kid.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about that some other time. That's what my company does. So we do some really fun stuff. But we're going to talk about your history today, and let's get them all on. So let's play a little. Let's play a little bit of Keith. So, yep. Let me get this queued up so we can get it going here. These are individual shares, so let me make sure to get this right. Okay, here we go. Gray and Rogers. Now this is I can't wait to hear the story about this. This is gonna be cool. All right, here we go. Let me share this now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, it's getting nasty right off the top.
Yeah, some 80s.
There you go.
Lady, what you doing? Calling me up all the time. Don't be ashamed to tell me the truth. I know what's on your mind. You're not getting enough. Kissing and hugging, you need so much. And when you're with your boyfriend, are you thinking of me when you love and care? Don't deny it. You want my love, not out. You can't hide it, girl. You know that's what you miss. Remember, because of you, we had to tell each other goodbye. It didn't take you long, and now you wanting me back. I'm the only one that can make you feel right. You're not getting enough. You're not getting enough. Kissing and hugging, you need so much. And when you're with your boyfriend, are you thinking of me when you love and care? Don't deny it. You want my love, not out. You can't hide it, girl. You know that's what you miss. Yeah, don't deny it. Come on, girl. You want my love, yeah. You can't hide it, girl. You know that's what you miss.
Yeah, okay. Let's get it. Oh, that was incredible. Wow. The drums, man, the drums. Incredible sound. I love that sound. Fantastic. Okay, Dad, I'll leave it to you.
Let's bring in Brother Keith.
Brother Keith. Hi, Keith.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah. What's up, man? What's up?
Hello.
That was killer, man. I love that sound. Wonderful.
Yeah, we had I thought the video portion was going to play, but I guess where you picked that up on YouTube, but that's fine though. I want to say hi to my beautiful twinster, Carol. How you doing, Carol? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I'm well, thank you.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Are you guys actual twins? You guys are actual twins?
Yeah, I can see the resemblance here. She looks like my mother and my father.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
And I call Ronnie BB, big brother. Ronnie, nice seeing you again, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, then. I had to get that out.
Well, while we got y'all on, I'd like to start out by take about 20 seconds to tell you a little bit of history of our organization, and then we'll go from there. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was president of something called Nebraska Music Hall of Fame for about 6-7 years, and we were blessed to have inducted all kinds of cool people. Preston Love Sr., Buddy Miles, Herbie Rich, Billy Rich, a lot of names you guys know. I did that from about 1998 to 2004, and for various reasons, kept involved but not being in charge. Then about 3 years ago, excuse me, Mike Jr. and I and a couple other people that we've had on our board of directors decided to form a separate nonprofit called the Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame. And I think maybe Mike mentioned this earlier. We had 3 amazing shows set up last year in April, May, and June, live at Playmore Ballroom in Lincoln, and Slow Down in Omaha, the great new venue down there that you may be familiar with. And of course, the virus hit. So our live shows went boom. And since then, we've had, I think, Mike, 3 or 4 different, what we call virtual inductions, till we can actually get live again sometime. And we'll talk about that down the road with the 3 of you, because we've got to do that sometime, someday. But it's called Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame. The mission statement is to not only honor and induct Nebraska-based musicians and other entities similar to music and performing arts, but once we do that, hopefully raise funds mostly for youth-oriented music groups. And there's a number of them around the state, particularly in Omaha and Lincoln. And there's one called Omaha Girls Rock. There's all kinds of things. And we give instruments to schools, fund private lessons for the kids. So that's really what we're about. But the way we get there is to recognize the huge amount of Nebraska talents. And so without further ado, we'll make this official. And we want to induct Carol Rogers, Keith Rogers, Ronnie Beck, the late Donnie Beck, and their mother, Jean Rogers, to the Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame virtually. So welcome, you're in.
Yeah.
And you know,
Congrats, y'all.
There are several amazing families in Omaha, but I would, for this, we're going to call this the first family in Nebraska music, because you got all 5 of you, and you have a sister that was involved too, that was not a musician, but she assisted you all through the years with making outfits and helping you all. And she's a minister, I think, in Carolina. Is that right? I'm not sure where she lives. But anyway, that's what we're doing for now. And I've got kind of an outline that I sent you earlier of we'll take you from little kids all the way up to now as what you've done with music and any other things you want to talk about. It's going to be pretty loose. So I'll kind of lead you down the path, and then you guys just jump in whatever you want. So without further ado, I would like to start out with everybody jumping in and talking about when you're little kids. And help me a little bit. The late Donnie Beck and Ronnie were twins, and Carol and Keith are twins, which is rather unique. And were you guys a couple years apart? I can't remember, 2 or 3 years apart?
3 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
3 years apart.
Years.
Wow.
Carol is 3 years younger than we are, and then our sister Ann is a year younger than me. So
My mom had 5 kids in 3 years. Props to the mama power. 5 kids in 3 years. Yeah.
and all before she was 20 years old.
Oh,
really?
Wow. She was 20 when she had us, but she was just on the cusp. We were born in August. She was born in August. We were born in September, but still, 5 kids in 3 years.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And here's another phenomenon that I'd like to chime in on. It's it's a numbers thing. My grandmother, my mother's mother, Matilda, her birthday is on the 13th, okay? And Carol and I's birthday is on the 13th.
Wow.
And mother's birthday is on August the 19th, and Ronnie and Donnie's is on the 19th. I mean, is that...
Wow.
They say numbers actually play a significant role, but I find that uncanny. It's really amazing. So whenever it's easy for me to remember mother's birthday on the 19th because it's similar to Ronnie and Donnie's.
Yeah, easier to remember. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let me talk about you guys. I think various times we've talked to each other about Bristol Street, and the music in the house with your mom and other people stopping by in the neighborhood. Can each of us join in wherever you want? I want to talk about your early musical influences when you were little kids. Was it records? Was it people hanging out at the house? Was it probably when you were real young, not going to any shows, but maybe there were some outdoor deals you went to? Tell us about how you develop your music, whether it was jazz, R&B, blues, show tune, whatever. What did you hear in music when you were little kids?
Well, I'm gonna chime in real quick. One thing growing up, I had no choice. Okay, and honestly, I never thought that I would become a keyboard player. Okay, matter of fact, mother wanted me to be a photographer. So getting back to the story is that when I was little back, I'll have to say we'll have to go back to 1960 or something like that. I do remember mother used to have she had a band. She was with the Savoy Seven. Cliff Dudley was the leader of it, and one of the big things I remember is that she used to practice. She used to practice in the house and then in the basement too, and we were just surrounded with that music. And one of the biggest things I remember is that she had a xylophone player there, and the xylophones was sitting up in the living room, or was it in the middle room right here, Carol? I think it was in the middle room or something like that.
The very first room.
Yeah, the very first room. And it's I don't know if that was forced, but as far as I'm concerned, that's where it started with me. But I never knew that I was going to become a musician myself.
How about you, Ronnie or Carol? Tell us about your early music influence. How'd you get into it? What happened? Jump in.
Go ahead, Carol.
Okay. Well, I used to think I was Doris Day, and I would sing "Que Sera, Sera," and my brothers would meet me at the end of the stairs as I left my bedroom and say, "You really need to wake up," and they'd pummel me lovingly like brothers do. But I mean, I couldn't sing like Aretha Franklin. It was very clear to me what I couldn't do, but I didn't find Doris Day intimidating. So actually opened me up to multicultural type situations because I was never soulful enough, and I was, but marketable nonetheless. Thanks to my brothers, I don't do Doris Day. Yeah.
Wow.
Ronnie, what's some of your early music influence when you were a little kid?
Luigi Waits.
Yeah.
When the Voice 7 used to rehearse in that front room in that old house, that old Victorian.
Oh, really?
We used to come down the stairs as kids and look through the rails on the banister and watch the guys play because they were rehearsing in the evening. They probably rehearsed like at 7 or 8 at night because they all had day jobs, the musicians. And I always would look at the drummer. Yeah, I thought he was cool. I really did. And I look at the other guys, and matter of fact, our brother Donnie was listening to the whole band. Donnie had the ability to hear the music and then separate them and listen to each instrument separately. And he taught me how to do that. He said, yeah, man, because we were listening to records. We had records around the house. We had 45s and LPs and stuff. And it was pretty eclectic. It was some soul music, some gospel, some, church music. It was a lot of different stuff. I mean, we even there was one song I remember. There was Joe Stafford my grandmother had, and she used to play that over on 18th Street. I was cracking up. I said, man, what is that? It was on 78 too.
Mm-hmm.
The girl is saying, I want to say something to you, sis. You're soulful. Your soul is not measured by how you sound. If you sound like Aretha Franklin, because when you sing, it's all about, and you know this, if you don't feel what you're singing, you need to leave it alone. and I'm sure you feel what you're saying. So there is some soul up in that,
Yeah.
and you celebrate your uniqueness and your eclectic taste in music. I mean, you singing Portuguese and Spanish and all these. I mean, come on now,
Fish,
that's something to
Japanese,
celebrate.
everything.
I'm sorry.
But multilingual. Yeah, the 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 loving little ruse that we had at the end of the step when I thought I was like Doris Day and should sing Que Sera Sera, and Tab Hunter would love me. It's just what girls go through. And I didn't really identify with her because I strung some popcorn on my neck since I didn't have pearls. It was just an adjustment.
That's crazy.
So, but the thing is, music being so incredibly diverse, there's a place for everyone. I sing country music. Oh my gosh, Mike Sr. hit me up on the fact that I was Carla Proud. Named myself after Charlie Pride. I wrote my own country music and I yodeled like the best
Wow.
of them.
Yeah,
That's incredible. I love that. I love that.
So it's the diversity in the home. We were mainly jazz, black oriented styles of music, and not my ineptitude, obviously, but my shyness to go with any of that just opened up different doors. But I was Sweet Girl when you and Donnie played and let me sing with you at the showcase. Yeah,
yeah.
remember? Yeah, I was Sweet Carol.
That's right. She's a little teenager coming up in the
Skinny legs
club.
and all. Skinny legs and all, not knowing how to use my body to do anything underage in a bar. Yes. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, and then my twin and I used to do show wagon now these things are dinosaurs that have died, gone the way of the dodo, but these were really to exercise and exhibit our gifts outside of the home. We did talent shows at Horace Mann, the new King Magnet Center. The show wagons were really good because just him and it was just Keith and me. And I remember he'd have glasses on playing the piano like Stevie Wonder. I wasn't Diana Ross. I still was in doubt of who I was. Yeah, I was having a little identity crisis for about 20 years. I kept forging through, but he played with me and just the music that we shared has made an indelible link among us. That's the best way to put it.
Always.
Okay. I want to go back to that. I think that first of all, I want to go back to say that when Carol and I did do the show wagon, and it was Beverly Blackburn talent show, we actually won. And the thing is that I just want to let you know what influenced me to start getting behind some keyboards. Okay, my mother, I would say back, she tried to she wanted me to she tried to teach me piano back when we lived on 2611 Street. That was right next door, and I was like in the third grade, but I was more interested in throwing rocks and stuff like that, so it just went
At me.
somewhere else. Probably so. And
Oh, he froze up on
Brother
us a little
Donnie,
bit. There we go.
yeah, he took the time to show me how to play Mercy, 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 Ken
There you go.
Marley. And I'm here to tell you, he didn't show me the Mickey Mouse chords. He showed me the big expanding chords. And a little guy in the seventh grade playing some big chords like that. And I think that's what really helped Carol and I to win the talent show, because you see this little bitty dude playing some big chords back there. And that actually started me on learning how to play the piano. So Donnie was my inspiration. Not only my mother was a great piano player too.
Great
Yeah.
singer too. Great singer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we I don't know. Don't start me talking.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. We here to
Come
talk.
on, we want you talking.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
talk. Come on, let's break the ice.
we did a show. The last one that I remember, all of the family being there. Here in Omaha, Luigi Waite's stage. It was a go-to place for us, and it was so good to see all of the extended family, the horn players. None of us learned to play horn. I played French horn for like 2 weeks, and it was like, nah, man, that was not cool. You had to stick your hand in the middle of it and spit and slobber. No. I was Diana Ross. I graduated from being Doris Day. I was suddenly Diana Ross, just as skinny as she was, and I demanded differently. I lived in a fairy tale world, which was good for allowing me to be open to different ways of looking at things. But I look at the Brady Bunch and all these things on TV. We're kind of like a black Brady Bunch, except I don't know. I could go some different places with that. But yeah, it was so cool on the road. Now I'm skipping a little bit ahead time-wise to go to Japan. I'm there with Sergio Mendez playing Kwade Kwade Kwa. My brother, my twin is there playing. He's speaking better Japanese than me. And it's like,
Hanto Day show.
he's up in town and I'm saying, oh yeah. Ha, ha, ha. Omaha in the house. Yeah. So, none of us were particularly athletic as children. Our thing was music. And I think the best blessing was realizing how we complement each other. Now, my brother Ronnie sings, and I get mad at him because he sings so soulfully. I'm not as soulful as he is. And Keith sings. We did a gig here a couple of years ago, and he didn't even call me up. It's like, I'm singing the whole thing. What? Dude, do you know who I am? Nappy head, shut up. So, yeah, he didn't say that because I'd have hit him. So, yeah. But just the diversity and the gifts, the fact that back in that day, home was everything. We didn't watch television. It might not work. So we were given a gift as a family that my mother nurtured in us, encouraged in us. She lived actually through us vicariously. I'm sure of that because she became a principal, a teacher, and then an administrator because she needed to keep a consistent amount of money coming in. She couldn't go on the road because she was such a young mom. She did kind of, but she had to come back because we were so young. But she never, ever, no, let me speak this positively. She always encouraged music in us. And therein lies my gratitude, the conduit between me and my brothers, and just the fact that we can have a moment like this and not be estranged because we're family because of what we learned.
Wow.
That's very cool. Let's talk about your mother, Jean Rogers, a little bit. I know some, not a lot. I think it was a couple of years ago, Ronnie either gave me or bought, doesn't matter, a CD that was put together of Jean's songs that was fabulous. And I still play that to this day. But tell me a little bit early on about her bands she played with. Where did they play? Can you tell me just about her early days of performing before she got into the teaching and kind of coming home to take care of you guys? What do you know about her career before that? Anybody jump in?
I'm going to speak on that because I've been thinking about it. Matter of fact, I got a bunch of stuff that I wrote down. I wrote about 4 pages of stuff, just topics to touch on. But back in the, I'm going to guess it was in the late 50s because we were living at 2408 North 18th. And I remember Mother had a Gene Rogers show. It was like a 15-minute show on Saturday afternoon on Channel 7.
Early in the morning, very early in the morning.
Anyway, I mean, that was in the late 50s, maybe early 60s. And I mean, Mother was a phenom, a prodigy. She was classically trained. She has perfect pitch. Mom and Donnie both have perfect pitch, so it was already there. And I was trying to hear stuff, and I was trying. I can get close, but I don't have that. Anyway, the benchmark was set very high in the house, and all the guys that used to, and girls that used to come over our house to try to learn some music. I mean, and they would come from all parts of Omaha. Billy Rogers came from West Omaha to our house to.
There's
Just
your house.
go.
Is that your house?
Yes, it is.
Tw-
Upgraded.
That's 24
Oh,
a week right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was my grandmother's house. That was her first
Much
house.
better.
Yeah, there's a little. Actually, there was some music going on there because we always had a piano in the house, and Calvin Keys used to come over to that house, and him and Mother would practice standards. Because Calvin started as a blues guitarist, and Mother knew jazz because Mother was rooted in jazz. A lot of the guys were saying, "Gene, you got to learn this jazz," and that's something that was instilled in me and Donnie. You know, because we're listening to James Brown and Booker T and the MGs, and Keith was
And
more.
more today.
Yeah, and then me and Donnie was listening to the jazz cats, you know, Jimmy Smith and all of those guys, and we wanted to do the organ trio. So Donnie, Billy Rogers, and I had the Don Rogers trio. Okay, that was Donnie's name. It was Donnie Beck is his real last name. Actually, his real last name is Reeves. Anyway, Don Rogers trio, and we were playing at Patrick's, which is on 30th and Lake. And then we went down the hill, and Patrick's paid more money than the showcase, so we started there. And as a matter of fact, Mother used to have to come to our gig because we were teenagers, and Billy's mom and dad would come to the gig and watch us on the weekends, on Fridays and Saturdays when we played because we were underage. Then we went to the showcase and did the same thing, and it was great. We were in high school, but we wanted to learn jazz, and I really felt that was a very important influence on me is to get that root in jazz because I'm a believer that if you learn jazz, you can play anything. Because I played country before. I mean, I had a country gig here in California for like 3 years. I hated it, but I learned a lot. I learned how to do a 15-step, a 2-step, I mean, there's some, and the country folks, there was 2 dance floors in this club, right? And those people will, I mean, they would get on my case. They said, after we take a break, they said, Ron, that song there was a little bit fast. That's a little bit too fast. Because they're all about the line dancing and stuff. So there's some rules in country music. So I have a lot of respect. I'm sure you know the same thing. Country people are very picky about their music. They want to hear it a certain way. I had to learn that, and it was a great experience. I know what it is now. And the jazz, but we were listening to jazz, but I have to say that when James Brown hit in the 60s, 1962, and even before that,
Yeah.
it changed me. I started wanting to do the funk.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was kind of predicting my destiny, if I can say that.
Yeah.
When I left Omaha in 1971 and I came to Northern California in San Jose, and the cats were around, man. There was some great musicians around. And I was living in a house by myself. It was a band house, and we were late on the rent. Had lights was turned off, but I used to get up in the morning. I would practice all day for about a month, and then I finally hitchhiked down to the after hours club on a Saturday night, and I sat in and played because I felt okay. I'm ready to go play now. Those are the kind of things that we learned in Omaha because my mom would let us know, especially when one of the bands was practicing with who is it, the Impacts and the New Breed, when Donnie and Herman Franklin and all those guys were playing, because all of the bands always rehearsed at our house. All the musicians traveling, that toured, went to the showcase, came to our house. They'd come in the house for something to eat. And if mom made some chitlins, I mean, it was gone before you know it. No, it was for real. But there was always music in the house. And matter of fact, Keith was telling me earlier today that Donnie and Herbie was doing something. What were they doing, Keith, at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, you know, yeah, I got a couple of stories I do want to share, but I know we're kind of like skipping timelines on there, but I did have Ronnie cracking up. Okay, so the house on 2609, there was no limitations, and definitely Donnie and Herbie Rich definitely took advantage of that. So it's on a school day. I'm like, I think I was in the seventh, eighth. No. I'm sorry. I was in the 10th grade. So we're upstairs asleep. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and and it's like I'm hearing, my brother was at a BV organ, and 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm hearing this. I'm hearing they had it all the way up. Herbie and Donnie was downstairs jamming. They had a jam session, and I really thought it was a nightmare or something like that. So I got up and I went downstairs, and surprisingly, my grandmother did not get up and tell them boys to turn that mess off. It was incredible because I'm thinking those guys were a little bit toasted, but at the same time, if we'd had like smartphones or something like that, that would be an element that I could probably be using on this podcast right now. But it was just like musicians would come through, and it was basically they could sit in, turn stuff on at any time of the day. So, but at this point, 4 o'clock in the morning, I think that was a little extreme. And Ronnie never knew about it because he and his wife was living next door. I don't know if Carol remember that, but I remember like it was yesterday. It was so loud I could actually feel.
Doris Day was never invited.
Okay.
I had to leave her upstairs, and all I wanted to do was sing Que Sera, Sera.
Okay, I guess so.
Doris Day was looking at boys. That's why I was not, because I was on your case all the time.
Yeah.
Carol would be coming downstairs and trying to talk to the guys in the band. I said, Carol, get out of here.
Yeah.
She was looking at boys. And I said, you think I'm young? She was like 12, 13, 14 years old. And she was like, ooh. I said, Carol, get out of here. So that's why you wasn't invited, because you was busy looking at boys.
Gotcha.
All right?
That's all right.
And ain't nothing wrong with it.
I think I'm going to turn off my mic, and you can read my lips.
Oh boy.
I'm telling the truth. I mean, ain't nobody lying there. One thing I will say though is, again, I'm gonna repeat, the bar for the music was very high in our house because of our mother, because she knew music, and you had to do it right. She said, y'all tune them GD guitars in, tune them that gum guitars up, y'all, because they would be fragmented guitars, and they was playing all out of tune, and bass was out of tune, and the drummer was all time, and she said, hold it, what are y'all doing? She made sure we did it right. And that was the standard, and it was also known all in the neighborhood and all over Omaha that there was a high level of music coming out of this house. These people are doing something here. Like Keith and Carol both have acknowledged, the doors were never locked. You could just come walk in the house, and that's what they did. Anytime.
Ronnie, can I ask you? I want to ask you a question. You said a lot of bands were coming through and staying when they were on tour. Do you have any memories of any of those bands that were coming through at that time?
It would be
and who they were?
Musicians, single musicians. There was a guy that came to the showcase, a sax player named Sonny Cox, is who I remember. Great alto player. I mean, and we went to the showcase to see him, and he came to our house. Keith, you know about some guys that came to the house with famous.
Absolutely. The drummer, producer, songwriter for Rufus.
Yeah.
Drummer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Andre
Fisher. Yeah, he stayed at the house.
Wow.
And there was another individual. I do remember Andre Fisher very sharply. But I can say that there were some great musicians that came in and sit in, like Jack McDuff.
Brother Jack McDuff came out.
And the funny
Frank
part.
Edwards.
Oh yeah, Frank Edwards.
Yeah, Frank Edwards. Yeah.
Well,
did you did they get booked?
Did they get booked
on the showcase from somebody that you knew?
Most of the guys that came to the house because they were playing at showcase.
Sorry guys, we might have some audio.
audio.
I'm getting a really echo.
Okay, 1 second. Not sure where that's
Not
coming
sure where
from.
that's coming from.
Check, check, check.
Check, check, check.
Oh, it's a perfect opportunity to see if my mic works.
Yeah,
Check, check.
sound good here.
Check, check, good here.
Some amazing times in that house. We were all safe. There was just music going on all the time. I couldn't study unless there was some ambient music being played live so that I could balance myself with the book or whatever I had to do. Music had become that important. Now, the one thing you didn't do, if you didn't get to dinner on time, people would eat your food.
Forget it.
Oh, that would make me mad. I've always been slender, and that would just be like, wow, dudes, this is our food. And, that's okay. I survived it, as you can see. And just the stories, I mean, and all through college, I studied music on loudly.
Can you guys tell me
Oh,
who
and
Can you guys tell me
I'm sorry.
who are the musicians?
who are the
that
musicians that played with
clothes?
the clothes?
With whom?
Say
I
that
didn't hear the
again, Mike.
question.
Everybody but
Everybody but
Carol
Carol
is echoing.
is echoing.
You
Yeah,
are
I'm getting
not.
that.
You are getting an echo too.
I'm fine.
I think Ryan.
Well,
Well,
yeah, we got
Hmm.
Zoom, baby. This
Zoom,
is
baby.
And when I talk, my echo coming in about 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Who are some of the musicians that played with your mom?
Some of the music
I muted myself. I'll
that
mute
played with your
myself.
mom.
Well, Mom's band was back in the day. Well, Curly Martin played with my mom. He
Oh,
played
really?
with my
Okay.
mother. Mel Corbino, great
Yeah.
big Omaha. There was another guy years ago that moved from Omaha to Phoenix. His name was Roy Yancey. He was the guy. And you may even recognize Basie Gibbons. He's another bass player that played with
Oh,
my
yeah.
mom. Basie was a staple in Omaha. Matter of fact, Basie was a sharp brother. He had his own janitorial service, and he was making money back in the day. Basie was sharp. And matter of fact, Mother used to tell us something, and all of us, she said, learn something on the piano. Because Basie told Mother that, because Basie Gibbons, man, I saw Basie sit down and start playing some really nice chords on the piano. Basie would show my mom chords. So all of the guys, and especially the local guys that came through our house in Omaha, I mean, most of them had day jobs and stuff, and they gigged on the weekends. I mean, that's all we could do because we all had families and stuff. But they were all very serious about the music and playing it right. That was that was the household standard. I mean, every guy that came through. That's why they was coming from West Omaha and Council Bluffs to see what's happening at 2609 Bristol. As a matter of fact, my uncle Dwight Beck called our house on Bristol a music mecca. And Dwight is a linguist, and he writes the kind of stuff, and he wrote a really nice piece about what was happening in our home on Bristol Street. Hank Red lived across the street from us on Bristol Street, and you know Hank Red played with Stevie Wonder back in the day, and he was.
I know Hank real well. We're going to be putting him on here pretty soon. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
What was the address on Bristol Street?
2609.
Yeah.
What was it?
2609.
2609.
Yeah, I gotta share a moment
moment here.
And I gotta not
Sorry.
someone's mic, someone's speakers probably.
Yeah, I think it's it might be Carol's speakers might be too loud. If we can turn your volume down, then it wouldn't feed back through her microphone. So I think we're good. Go ahead, Keith.
Okay, when Mother was practicing with Basie Gibbons was actually the leader at the time, and she was in the basement, and this was at 2609, and Basie Gibbons. Mike, did you ever get a chance to meet Basie Gibbons?
No.
Okay,
I know the
well,
name, but I don't know.
yeah, well, he had a kind of a way to talk his voice like that. Keith, how you doing, Keith? He's basically is a union man too. Okay,
Right, that's
and
right.
and so it's really funny. I'm just going down there to say hi, mom, or whatever, and Basie caught me. And he said, Keith, won't you play something? I said, I don't know your stuff. So I want to let you guys know my first polka was when Basic Given stopped me and why would you to play a polka with us? I said, I don't know polka. So he kind of like hummed out. Da, 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 da. I mean, um, it was just one of those moments that I got caught up into, and I survived it though. And once again, we're talking about that was education for me. Now, uh, I wanted to play like Cold Sweat or something like that, but I walked out playing a polka, and I I know it made my mother proud. It really made my mother proud that I survived it because I almost wanted to say, Mom, I was just gonna ask you for $1 so I can get something at the store down the street, but I got caught into that. So, um, you know, the element was always music, okay, and it's like most of the people that came around us was always getting some type of educational benefit out of it, and I say that I did too. Um, uh, there's one situation that I do want to talk about or either just add into it. And I know collectively with my siblings, I never got a chance to tell them. Back in 1962, we're going to go back just a minute. We lived on 3219 North 28th Avenue, which is no longer there anymore. I think it's part of the freeway. Um,
Nope,
I,
it's still there. It's still there.
is it still there?
Is it still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, so
mother
mother
picked me up,
picked me up,
took me with
took
her.
me with her.
We went to the Epley Airfield, the airport. I didn't know what was going on. I just wanted to ride with my mother. And we walked in the Epley Airfield, and I had no idea that she was picking up Ella Fitzgerald. Okay. And I didn't know who Ella Fitzgerald was. I'm just with my mama. I'm just walking and holding her hand. And I remember she picked her up. Um, she got her luggage and everything, and she loaded it up in our car. Forgot what that car was. I don't know if it was called the Hutmobile or whatever. But anyway, mother dropped her off at the Civic Auditorium so she could do her sound check. I mean, in ever since then, that little moment back then, I remember, I know Ella Fitzgerald's the scat lady. And mother didn't tell me anything about it because she probably thought, well, you don't know who Ella Fitzgerald is, but that just having that little moment in time with a great performer like that is, something that has a big impact on me, and I'm proud to share it. So,
Wow.
when I told it to Ronnie, and I don't believe I ever spoke to Donnie about it, or my twin sister Carol, or my sister Ann as well. But um, this is really a great opportunity to at least air it. So it was an awesome experience, and I remember like it was yesterday.
Well, Keith, I'm gonna
You
hop
guys
on
did
that.
tell me, but
Go
I
ahead.
thought it was Sarah Vaughan.
Yeah.
So I've been telling the story wrong for decades now.
Oh snap.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it
That's
was
what
Ella.
Doris Day does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy being blonde.
Hey,
Ah,
did you know Doris Day and Sly used to hang out together? So there's your Doris Day.
of
Keith,
course,
I want to speak to what Keith is talking about. This is 1962.
Yes,
And
sir.
mother was doing the local gigs. She was gigging all over town. She was gigging at Anthony's Panther Room, which is in Omaha. She gigged at Mickey's because Mickey's had two spots. So mother was gigging, playing with her own trio around Omaha on the weekends because it was like the 60s and it was like the jet set, Frank Sinatra and the bad, what do they call themselves, and Dean Martin and all those guys.
Rat Pack.
Rat Pack. There you go. That was happening. The other thing that was happening is the reason my mom picked up Ella Fitzgerald, because they wanted her to get to her destination safely. And my mom was in the clique with all the guys, the Italian guys and the Jewish guys that were in charge of the music in Omaha, because she knew all of them. Mom was hot in the 60s.
Yes.
Jean Rogers was a hot item, local, because she was up here. Mom could hang with Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and people like that. As a matter of fact, on my last album, I took one of those songs, Carol, from the album that I did with Mother that I tried to produce, and that was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I took Moonlight in Vermont, and I had it on tape, and we transferred it from tape to digital, and I sang with my mom. And I'm tearing up right now because it was the most beautiful thing because I never sang with my mom. Carol and I sang together, but I never sang with my mom. So this is like, and we did this back in the 90s, like 1998, man. And so 5 years, I captured this song, and I said, I want to do the Nat and Natalie Cole thing with my mom.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was you need to hear it. I need to get you guys that record. It's on my last one, DNA, and she and I sang together, and I had to stop because I had to sing. I had to match her because she was already done. I had to match Mom, so I had to learn what she was doing, and it really enlightened me to the depth of Mother's musicality. She had a lot. She had a lot, and a lot of people learned from her, loved her. They come to respect all of her kids or siblings, and we learn music. I mean, that's very unusual, and you don't see that as much now because everything is digital. You can go on YouTube and all that stuff and watch this and learn how to do that. But man, we was real time doing this because we didn't have computers back then, and there was a whole different education and appreciation for real music, live music, and learning. Curly used to get on my case, man, you ought to try doing like this. I said, man, I was about 17, 18. I thought I already knew. I said, no, I got it, man, I got it. I said, because Curly was trying to teach me. And in 1974, Curly came to California and he saw me play. He said, Ronnie Beck, you can play. I said, it hit me. Because he used to, back in the day when we was teenagers, he'd be in my butt. But he finally told me in 1974, and that was just before I joined Tower Power, man. Ronnie Beck, you can play. And that was all I needed to hear. Because Curly was the guy. Curly was the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys play either together or separately in any bands in Omaha before you all went out to California?
Well, Keith and Carol had their band, the Family Portrait.
Okay, so yeah.
Donnie and I had the Afro Brass, and there was a lot of luminaries in that band. There was a deceased friend of ours, Percy Marion, was in that band. Frank Elio was in that band.
I know Frank well.
Tony Calabro was in that band. Stimsy Hunter. I mean, you know, all the great musicians in the 60s and early 70s came to 2609 Bristol. That was the proving ground. If you came to our house and you had to sit in and play something, they let you know you ain't ready yet, bro. And there was some cats that came through that weren't ready. And then they came to California and got their hat brought to them. And then they came back to Omaha because, man, Keith, Carol, you both know when you come out here, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to get busy. You got to learn the game, and you got to make it happen. And that's something that you have to learn on your own, unless you happen to have a dad in the house. A lot of guys that don't have fathers don't learn that. And I really appreciate the relationship that Mike Simrad Sr. and Jr. have. See, I don't know nothing about that. I don't. Yeah. I have no clue. We were raised by women as boys. Yeah. And for me, it was an impetus on me as a man to be that person in my family. I've been married to my wife for 53 years. Wow. And I have 3 daughters that are all grown and all successful. My setter daughter is a VP, making a box of money. My oldest daughter is a supervisor at her job. My youngest daughter is a manager at her job, and she's just getting all this. And then I got 5 beautiful grandkids. So there's an impetus on me to be the best man that I can be for my family and for people that I know and I love. I've met so many people over the years and through our travels. Keith and Carol, you guys know, you guys been to Japan, you've been to Europe, you've been to, Carol's been to Brazil, and she told me not to come to Brazil because there's too many booties down there. She said, Ronnie, you don't need to come to Brazil. I said, well, I want to go to Brazil because all my friends was telling me about it, man. The women in Brazil was hot.
Well,
I've never been to Brazil.
I got a story I want to chime in. I'm the story man. I got to chime in there. So you're talking about, when we came back. I'm not going to do any dates, but this is something that I had to deal with as being the youngest brother with Ronnie and Donnie. Bless their hearts. Donnie, as being a keyboard player, I wanted to shout. I wanted to shadow him. Okay, and Ronnie and Donnie, these guys, you talking about tough love. Let me just explain to you how tough love my two brothers. You know where you're going on that.
Excuse me. Doris Day was tough love too.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but you didn't say what they're about to say. Okay, and I had no clue. I'm hanging out with my two older
Doris
brothers.
Day.
Yeah.
Ah, no
So
love from me.
you got all love coming from me, sister. Absolutely. Ronnie and Donnie, I want to hang out with my two brothers because basically they were the pioneers to come out here to California. Okay. And I have to say, when Ronnie and Donnie left, it was like a ghost town. Okay. Because all the
Like the light,
guys that, yeah,
the light now.
it was something else. But anyway, Ronnie and Donnie was
It was
like,
like
they were
they were
talking to
talking
each
to
other
each other,
and they
and
said,
they said,
Ronnie said to Donnie, or either it was Donnie said to Ronnie, and he said, guess who can't play? And this was, I'm just hanging out with them. Guess who can't play? And I'm like, I'm looking at both of them. I thought they was gonna talk about somebody else, right? And he said, yeah. Donnie said, well, I think Ronnie started it out, but both of them said, well, guess who can't play? And they said, Keith. and basically what they were telling me was that the expectation legacy is that you're part of the Beck Rogers family. You need to be playing much more than what you are right now. And the guys I used to work with that I left Omaha, Nebraska with, these guys are called there were Magnificent Men in the Flying Machine. It was John Matthew, Michael Hill, Arthur Hayden, uh, Mel, Melvin, and Glenn Franklin, and Ernie Jefferson. Well, the guys that were in the band would always chastise me, and they would say something like, "Keith, you know what? You were the musical family. You're supposed to be playing much better than what you're doing right now." Because two of the singer guys, it was Michael and it was John. Those guys were music majors, so I could. They were on my case all the time. So, to shadow what Ronnie was saying here, the expectation has always been high when you're coming out of 2609 Bristol. And people always say, "Well, no, you coming out that house, Gene Rogers' house. You better learn how to play." So it took me some years. To get my confidence up because I used to play years. I played. He would have a trio of horns. I had Stimsy Hunter on the horns, and he would have various other drummers, and his wife would sing. But my brother Donnie was a phenomenal keyboard player, but he did not show mercy. I mean, I had to come up to the plate, so he was a big inspiration to me as to get my game much more focused. Either I was going to learn how to play keyboards, or I was going to leave it alone. Well, I still have some photographer skills, but I enjoy playing music.
So, so Keith,
Yes,
Keith
sir.
and Carol, did you guys go to California about the same time as Ronnie and Donnie? Early 70s or later?
I went out there first. I don't know if I
Oh,
want to embarrass my sister. I came out there first,
okay.
and we was paying some dues, and that was like in '74 or '75, and uh, basically we were staying in a hotel, and I believe Carol had an audition. If she can, if you remember you had an audition with Wonder Love, and you came out and you hung out at the Algiers. Are you going to admit that? Hello.
Yeah, I remember. Of course.
Yeah, yeah, of course you do. Yeah, she did. She came out
Yeah,
and
I
she
was
actually,
auditioning for Stevie Wonder.
yeah, Wonder Love. Yeah, and Hank Red set that thing up or something like that.
Yes,
And
he did.
yeah, so
Wow.
and I think Carol can really kind of chime in on what happened after that, because um I believe Donnie played a part of I think it was Donnie and Hank played a part, whereas that you ended up meeting or either auditioning. You can tell me this. You can tell the story yourself. I don't know exactly how it went, but the audition with Wonder Love was one thing that happened, and I think you went back to Nebraska, and then you got the surgical thing. So I want to make sure that some of the events is accurate. So you might be able to chime in on that, sister.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, pardon?
Yeah,
Excuse
Carol,
me?
tell us about the Wonder Love Stevie Wonder Hank Red deal. That's fascinating.
Oh, well, Hank Red called me and told me that Wonder Love was looking for another singer. I went in for the audition. I drove my Volkswagen bus 30 hours nonstop to get to Los Angeles. And another one bites the dust was playing in my little Volkswagen. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna nail this. Yeah, we go." I got into the audition. There was Greg Fillingham, who's a very integral part of the crew. Hank Red, I think, was over everything, but I sang to a machine, a recording machine. Never saw Stevie, and heard, very briskly afterwards that I got back in my little car and went back to Omaha, so unhappy. And then Hank called again and he said, "Hey, there's this guy named Sergio Mendez that's looking for a singer." And I'm thinking, "Sure, Trini Lopez. I can sing. If I had a hammer." See, things don't really stick in my head because I'm still stuck on Doris Day. Okay. So anyway, he told me that yeah, this guy named Sergio Mendez is looking for a singer. I came out, auditioned, July 4th, 1976. He told me after copious auditions times with him, he said, if you want the job, it's yours. I put the phone down and I screamed because I thought we were going to do some Holiday Inns or something. And he said, "Do you have a passport?" I said, "There are Holiday Inns outside of the United States?" "Yeah, I got a passport." We toured the Orient for 2 months, first class, everything after that. And
Wow.
thank Hank Red for saying, "Okay, I'm going to recommend you again because I believe in you." Omaha, sticking up for Omaha. And the just the blessing of knowing somebody like that who was family musically. Yeah.
Wow. That is wonderful. What a story.
Matter of fact, Hank Red used to come across the street because he lived right across the street, and he said, "Can I play a little bit with y'all?" You want to play with Mother because Hank was trying to learn jazz too. Again, it was just a culture in our home, and it all stemmed. It actually stemmed from my grandmother, because my grandmother was. Keith, you call me a taskmaster. Grandmother was a taskmaster. She was the general, and she made sure we did it right. My mom wasn't so particular about cleaning the house and stuff like that, but she made sure that we are doing your homework. I never did my homework, but she made sure that we played the music right. She was very focused about that. And my mother had very high intellect. My mother was brilliant. And it breaks my heart right now to think about what Alzheimer's has done to her right now. Because she's when I first saw her, man, This had to be maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and uh, my wife was with me. She said, "Ronnie, hug your mom." And I couldn't. I looked at my mom, and I had to go to the men's restroom, and I cried because it hurt me so bad to see her in that condition. My mom was amazing. She was a great musician, a great singer, a great seamstress. She would cook every now and then,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
and she, but everything was at a very high level. My mother was very particular. I was like her in some ways too, man. I would do my homework, and if I made a mistake at the bottom of the page, I would rewrite the whole page again. Mother said, "Ronnie, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm redoing this page because I made a mistake on the last sentence, and I don't want to have a scratch mark on it." And she said, "Yeah, I do the same thing."
Wow.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah,
My mother could have tested Mensa. She was that bright, but they wouldn't let her take that test
yeah.
because of her color of her skin.
Well, don't forget, she skipped twice too. You need to add that.
Did she skip twice?
She did.
Oh, okay.
Skipped it twice. So
They were gonna skip me, bro, and I choked.
yeah, yeah. I know. I hope that Ronnie and Carol, you remember that Mother did a classical when she was 14 years old. She did a classical 78. Do you guys remember that?
I do now.
Well, I do. Yeah, we played it on grandmother's record player on 18th Street. Yeah, she was playing classical music, and she recorded it on a 78. That kind of stuff. I like, wow. And you know how fast those 78s was going past. I think they had steel plates in it.
Well, we'd love to find a copy
I
of
remember-
that. Anybody
Yeah.
have any idea how to find a copy of that?
Probably
You know,
in the garage.
Yeah.
In the garage, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whose
seriously.
garage? Really?
Mine. Yeah.
Your.
I got all kinds of stuff
Okay.
in the basement that I just
Yes.
don't sort. It makes me think about her, and then I start to cry and I walk away. So
Okay.
yeah,
You got the archive.
Mama also won a talent contest. She played Furley. She played it so beautifully. Now this was in the day when, if you were a person of color, you were just in the kitchen or you were basically nothing. There were only. She was competition. She won in Omaha, Nebraska, during a time when they had to give it to her because she played so impeccably. But it was not something that went down very easy. But you know, good is good, and I'm just glad that the judges didn't. The judges did the right thing for her prowess. Yeah, they did. Oh yeah. Yep.
So she was
Mama.
she was a book taught musician. Did she read music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Impeccably.
Wow. Wonderful.
I don't think she read Rachmaninoff or anything like that, but she had perfect pitch, and so reading the pictures that she sees, the notes would tell her she absorbed them in a different way because music wasn't secondary. She got it, internalized it, and moved on. Yeah, she was
Wow.
awesome. Pretty awesome
Beautiful.
woman.
Hey, Ronnie,
Incredible.
when did you go out to the Bay Area in '71? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Who did you play with before Tower of Power?
Well, there's a couple of luminaries out here that I played with. One is my dear friend Clifford Coulter, great organist, keyboard player, songwriter, and matter of fact, Clifford was like my big brother because I never had a big brother. So when I met Clifford in 1971, we hung out for 3 days straight, and it was just like love. It was a bromance. It was just instant. And, I would play with Clifford, and Carol knows Clifford. Clifford wrote a song for Sergio Mendes, and Clifford was a great keyboard player. And Clifford also loved the way I played drums. When I would gig with Clifford, I would get like 5 or 6 drum solos a night because he just wanted to hear me play. No, he really, and I was young and excited and just, I had chops and I was just like, I wanted to play. Then Clifford was also a great guitarist, and he was playing with another dear friend that I consider a big brother, Mr. John F. Turk Jr. He was at Oakland, and he's from Vallejo, but he was an icon of Oakland. John, he's passed away now, but this cat had always had the best band in town. And he and Clifford were playing together, and John asked me if I wanted to play drums with him and Clifford. I said, well, and I was in LA, starving. And John Turk sent me a bus ticket to come up to San Jose to come play this gig in Oakland. And that opened another door for me because playing with Clifford was more jazz, and we played some blues and stuff, but it was like we played a lot. I mean, it was about stretching your chops. John, on the other side, not the opposite, but the foundation, and I attribute my funk skills to Brother John Turk because he was all about the backbeat. Man, there's a dance floor out there, people are dancing, give me the backbeat. I mean, he'd turn around and look at me and yell, backbeat, because I was back there busy and practicing, and he said, no, man, give me some backbeat. So what I learned to do with John, I'm going to give you your backbeat, but I'm still going to play all this other stuff that I want to play too. But he never complained about that. He said, just give me the backbeat. So I was like doing my Jabba or Clyde Stubblefield imitation. And I mean, it was, and David Garibaldi, people asked me, you playing that Oakland stuff? I said, no, man, I learned that in Omaha.
I'm going to jump in real quick and tell you one of my classic music moments of my life is I made a little side trip out California to the Bay Area to see some friends of mine from Nebraska played in the Smoke Ring and the Coachman and some of these bands out of Omaha. And I'd met Ronnie at one of the Omaha Black Music Hall of Fame shows and gave him a call and said, what's going on? And he says, well, I'll come pick you up. So Ronnie comes over and picks me up with Jerry Benjamin, who was in the Smoke Ring before me. Took us to some club. I have no idea where it was, but it seems to me it was attached to a big motel or something, like a motel lounge. And he said, we got to go see Clifford Coulter. So Ronnie had his bag of CDs. He's peddling CDs to people, saying $5 or $10, whatever. And Clifford called Ronnie and me, of all people, up to sing for it seemed to me a half-hour medley of all kinds of 60s, 70s R&B stuff. I wish I would have had a video of that, but I don't. But that was. I mean, you talked about everybody's got these few indelible moments in their life, and that was one. Thank you so much for taking me out to get on stage with you and Clifford Coulter and sing along. It was a classic. Thank you.
Wow.
Anyway.
Man, I remember that. I think it was at the Bamboo Lounge on 4th Street. Yeah. And they had Bud Singer sitting in and stuff, and Mike was over there playing the guitar. But see, Mike, that to me is part of the heritage that comes from Omaha and surrounding areas like Fremont. Because in the 60s, because we're baby boomers, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Lifestyle was different. We didn't have cell phones and texting people and emailing. I mean, we talked to each other. Kids played outside. I wasn't doing sports, but we tried to play football and baseball and basketball. I really wanted to play basketball, but I couldn't jump. So the kids would always tell me, Ronnie, keep score. I said, all right, y'all go ahead and play. But then also, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry, I'm going to finish my little adventure out there. Yeah, Sunday, Ronnie says, I'm playing drums down at the Glide Church on Sunday. Y'all come down. So I took another guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Bruce Watson, who was a great drummer for the Coachman. And this Glide, you can tell, I mean, we don't have to take the whole story. There's this huge church in downtown San Francisco. Seems to me, wasn't it on the second level? And the first level was a big feed the homeless kitchen. The homeless
downstairs in the church was the actual.
Upstairs, wasn't it?
It was upstairs. You had to go upstairs to take the elevator.
And here, I walk in there. I had no idea what to expect. Here's like what was it, 15 or 20 piece choir, and like a 8 or 10 piece band with Clifford Coulter and Ronnie on drums, and it was not like, I mean, I'm at the Episcopal Church in Fremont, and it was pretty old school. It was okay, but this thing was like what, hour and a half of 90% music. It
Wow.
just kicked ass. Excuse me, but
Mm.
it was some of the funkiest, most gorgeous gospel music I ever heard in my life. With this large choir, they're doing their steps and their showtime, and Ronnie's, and they got his little plastic enclosure, and he's kicking ass. And I think Clifford was playing keyboard in that.
Yeah, Clifford and John both were playing keyboards. We had two keyboardists. Yeah, and
What
that
an
was
experience that was. That was
Live
amazing.
Memorial Church. That's Cecil Williams Church. Cecil Williams was really very influential in the
The church
early
is called
70s.
Glide, and it was right downtown San Francisco, and it's an amazing place. It's still going, obviously, and
You know, it's still there. Yeah, yeah, no, it's still doing it. But yeah, no, that was a very special place. I was there for 7 years. I loved playing at Glide. What I really loved about it, it's not downtown. It's the area of San Francisco that's the hood, the ghetto. It's called the Tenderloin, where the homeless were.
oh yeah.
There's a line of people waiting to get fed. They were feeding thousands of people every day, and they were getting donations and any luminaries like Sharon Stone, Robin Williams, Bill Cosby, Oprah, Maya Angelou, all the luminaries that would come to San Francisco came to Glide Church. So we had the standard was high. I mean, when you got these kind of people and this kind of recognition, we were always on TV and stuff. I mean, big time stuff, and you had to be on your game. But see, all that again came from phone numbers 2609.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Carol, tell me about you went out to the Wonderlove deal, came back to Omaha, didn't get the gig. Then Hank lines you up with Sergio Mendez, and that was, I think, what, mid to late 70s, 76 or 78? I don't remember when.
1976.
76.
Mhm.
And so you were continuously with him for how long?
20 years.
Oh wow.
How many? 4?
20. Now, have a baby, nurse a baby, don't go back too quickly. Have a baby, nurse a baby, don't go back too quickly. But when Sergio got the Grammy, he stopped working. Oh
Really?
my, when he stopped the Grammy for Brasileiro,
Yeah.
yeah, he stopped working. He just rested in his laurels, and it was like, whoa, dude,
Whoa.
I'm not going to have another baby. I don't have to
Yeah.
nurse anybody. I need to go. And it just didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
but there's such a list of enchanted places, and
He played
I
all
mean,
over the world. Yeah.
all over the world. I mean, I remember opening with Sergio, obviously, for Frank Sinatra, that was his dream come true. And at the Hollywood Bowl, you just look one way, you'd see everybody who was everybody. Bruce Springsteen, the Gabor sisters, older, younger. It was such a surreal environment. And then just as much, when we would leave and go to a country like Thailand, the king of Thailand invited us because he thinks he plays saxophone. Cool, dude. Play your saxophone. Yeah, we'd get these calls. We played for King Hussein, the late King Hussein of Jordan, because
Yeah.
his wife knew that he liked Brazilian music. And, he got a brand new Rolls Royce that he'll never drive, but that's okay. It's all right. and he got us, and just some of the most.
Oh, looks like we may have froze on her a little bit. That happens.
There she is.
There she is.
Carol, when Mendez recorded, did he use studio singers, or did you guys were on any of the records at all?
Oh,
can't
did we
hear
lose
her.
her? Yeah, I think she's muted.
Unmute your mic, Carol.
Can't hear you, Carol. Your microphone must have got muted somehow. Are you back
It
on?
says that.
There we go.
There you
go.
are.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm standing with one foot in my kitchen. Okay. So,
There you
so
go.
Sergio.
The question was, did he
Sorry.
use studio singers, or did you guys ever record with him?
It was us. It was us.
Really?
And he had
Mhm.
affinity for it. He loved singers. His wife of 40 years now, probably. I don't know. They've been together a long time. Is an amazing singer. And the
Oh,
singers,
wow.
and with his being perfectionist, he was so patient with singers, not patient with anybody else, but he was very patient with us singers to get the best rendition of the songs that he's chosen for. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Wow.
I'm
Wonderful.
I've got a bunch of those albums, and I'm gonna dig them out and listen for you.
Yeah,
One of my
life. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say one of the I need to give you your props, sister. One of my favorite songs that was on Sergio Mendes, which you sung on, and I was just happy to be part of that transition because you remember Stevie Wonder wrote a song for Sergio.
Yeah, the real
Yeah,
thing.
awesome, and it's kind of cool that I heard how it originally went down when Stevie did his rendition, and then when you guys did it on the album. Those kind of moments are speechless. So
That
Wow,
that
I didn't
Stevie
know
did
that.
it, and then they chose. Yeah, the difficult thing with Sergio is that you were not competing, but always making yourself available to be that one that he would choose for the solo projects. And in that case, he chose Marietta Waters, who was from Philadelphia, who was dating the guitar player with Stevie. She's a good singer. Don't get me wrong. She should have had it because I didn't get it. But yeah, the real thing was written by Stevie, and Marietta Waters sang it. She sang it very well, by the way, too. She's a sweetheart.
Wasn't Mike Cimbello the guitar player?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's his girl.
Yeah.
It was his former
You-
girlfriend. So yeah, it's just whew, from not. I never thought that I was as good as my brothers because they put. I was just a singer. Chose to be a singer. I left Doris Day. How many times have I mentioned her? And then I thought, okay, I'm skinny enough. I'm Diana Ross. Yes, in mahogany or something. And so my fantasies, un, um, unrealized, never stopped me from. I sang country music. I wrote country music. Yeah. Mike Senior and I were talking about it, and he found some of my stuff. I called myself Carla Proud, and I wrote country
Carla
music.
Proud, yeah.
Carla Proud. I wrote my music because I love Charlie Pride. You didn't say that very loudly because it's like, wait a minute, you're a sellout. You can't do that. And then
Wow.
a decade later, I'm singing in different languages on different television stations in different countries. It's like, you better think outside the box because the box
Yeah.
is can be very limiting and you never know. So yeah, it's good times, super good
Well, I'm
times.
kind of
But
I'm
it
kind of
was very
splitting hairs
intimidating.
here, but I want to ask Ronnie real quick. So you're out playing with Clifford Calder. I actually found a couple of his albums from the early '70s. They're real good. But how did you get linked up with? I think his name was Dave Garibaldi. I think was the original drummer. And then how did you get that gig? I'm curious.
Guitar Power?
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Conti, the guitar player at the time, was the one that got the audition for me because David was
Okay.
leading the group a couple of times. He had already left the group once, and they had David Bartlett, and I couldn't. David Bartlett played exactly like David Garibaldi, and I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to bring my own style and my own interpretation of the music to the band. And Mimi, the leader of the band, asked me, he said, "You don't have to play like David, but I want you to play the music. You got to learn David's stuff, and then it's your interpretation of what David did, because David's stuff
Yeah.
is critical to the sound of that band." Anyway, Bruce used to come and sit in with me and John Turk when he was in town because he lived in Oakland. And also with Tower, man, everything is a big arrangement, so there's not a lot of freedom. So Bruce would come sit in with us, and he would get to stretch out and play more stuff. Bruce is a very good guitar player and a great singer. So I get fired from John Turk's band. Me and John had an argument, and he wouldn't take that. I got fired. Matter of fact, he sent me a telegram to fire me. I was cracking up. I said, "What the WTF? What? A telegram?" He fired me
Wow.
a telegram, and I remember exactly what it said. It said, Ronnie Beck, and this is my John Turk voice. Because of your inability to deal with the job situation, is effective immediately. John Turk. I said, I want to say you. But
Yeah,
you know
yeah, I know
what?
what you want to say. I know what you want to say.
I'm not going to go there right there. And I
I
love
got
John.
you.
Anyway, I played a gig at the Brass Rail for about 3 months, which is a strip joint. And I mean, it was kind of exciting because of the girls. But I finally get a call, and this is, before DJs and stuff. We had a live band playing for the dancers. Anyway, I get a call from Bruce. He said, "Hey, man, can you make an audition on such and such a day?" I said, "Dude, I'm there." And Bruce also told me, "Ronnie, learn this song." He gave me a list of songs to learn and pay attention to. And to be honest with you, I really had to learn those songs.
Oh
Didn't
yeah.
learn half the songs. With Tower Power, we used to rehearse. When we were off the road, we would rehearse 5 days a week. I
I'm
mean,
sure. Yeah.
that's why they're so tight, because we worked. There was preparation, and it was an experience for me. It was the most wonderful thing that had ever happened to me in my life. It was a blessing that I got fired from John Turk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got the gig with Tower Power, and Paul B. Allen 3. Bruce Conte is Conte. Bruce lives in the Philippines right now. Anyway, I just FYI. Uh, Somebody's chirping in. Uh, that gig was special for me, and I got exposed to a lot of things, man. I mean, Tower was leaving Warner Brothers at the time I got in the band, and we signed a 4 album deal with CBS Records for a lot of money, a lot of money. And I signed the contract. I was in Beverly Hills at Brown Derby or somewhere, and all the suits and lawyers and stuff around. So I got to see that up close and personal, and I'll never forget that. It's like I got to see a big record deal going down. It was crazy. Then I would go in the recording studio, and they would let me talk. I didn't just have to sit there and watch. I say, "Hey man, what about trying this?" And Mimi saw that in me, and he allowed me to contribute. I mean, I helped produce some of those records that I played on with Tower Power. I didn't get any credit for it, but I definitely had some influence and some input, and that stuck with me for my whole life. Because now, I mean, I saw it big time where the Stars recorded, where Sly and all them guys recorded. We was recording in the same places, man, and I got to see the music business at that level. A young kid from Omaha, Nebraska, was blessed with that opportunity, and I learned a lot and inspired me to write more songs and learn how to produce. And I've been producing stuff since 1983, and I was producing the band that I was playing with, man, and we made a couple of records and stuff. But I mean, I got to learn what it takes to really produce. The producer, and Keith is good at that. Keith is a very good producer because he can hear the whole thing, and he also can see it and have the vision of where the song is telling you to go. Because I'm a believer that the music will tell you where to take it. You can't make the music do something it doesn't want to do.
I remember that, Ronnie. Aren't you on two or three of the albums with Tower Power?
Yeah, yeah. I'm on
Three, I
three.
think.
I sang on the first one, which was in the slot. Mimi invited me in the studio because David came back to finish their commitment to Warner Brothers, so he played on those last couple of records. But I was actually in the band when they were finishing those records up. And
Yeah.
then on the next two, I played the drums and I wrote on both of them.
I want to keep digressing because I got
I'm sorry.
notes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, all of that stuff is online, man. You can go online now and find out anything you want about people.
All right, Keith, can you tell me a little bit about the Gray Rogers group? And I think, didn't you mention that there was some type of audio or video that was on either BET or MTV or something? Tell me that
Yeah,
story, would you?
yeah. Okay. The Grand Rogers story. That was something else. His name is Christopher Gray, and we started out. It was like a trio type of situation. It was a guitar player and Chris Gray, and things didn't pan out what we wanted, so we ended up writing songs together.
Okay.
Chris wanted to go out and sing the clubs. He had a really good voice, but I what I saw in Chris Gray is that I said, man, this is an opportunity for us to put some music together. I mean, he had a good recording voice, and he was one of those singers that he was challenging. He'd love a challenge, and with a guy like that, it's easy to write music to. And so he had an uncle that was one of the guys that networked with a lot of different people, and we connected up with this guy Voss Records, which was Voss Construction Company. Matter of fact, they had a lot of beach property that was in Oxnard. Okay, and I really pushed Chris to say, I said, man, let's do a bunch of songs. So we ended up doing some demos, and Chris' uncle uh, took it took the demo and it got to Voss Records. Danny Voss, guy had a box of money, and what ended up happening, he loved what we did. Okay, so he challenged us. He says, "Well, look, you know what? Guys need to grab uh, a lawyer, and I want to get you guys in the studio ASAP." So um, it was fun. It was actually fun working with Chris, but we did the A side was "Don't Deny It," and I think it was 1680 Day was on the hot and heavy list, and like I said, BET aired the video, which unfortunately we didn't get a chance to see it there, but that was fun because that was my first time being part of the production of putting a video together.
Yeah.
Voss Records allowed us to be part of the deciding factor. Matter of fact, Voss Records allowed us to not only uh, write our own stuff, but he allowed us to go in there and be part of the mix process. I'm going to chime Ronnie in because Ronnie came in one time and he produced the vocalist Chris Gray and "Let Me Show You." Remember that, Beck?
No.
Yeah, yeah. So he really helped out on that. And what I was having fun with is that Chris and I we're in Beverly Hills. I like the Beverly Hills thing because I guess that's where all the big business come down. So Voss Records had two different producers for the video. Okay, this one guy, um, they came. It was like a back to back, and they was gonna let us kind of figure out. Well, hey guys, we got two people here that's got two different ideas about how putting a video together. One guy came in, and this is a dual project, and this guy kept saying, "Well, here's what we want to do," and he kept saying lead singer this, lead singer that, lead singer that, and I had to stop him. I said, "Well, no, this is a dual project. It wouldn't have happened if it didn't take both of us collectively." So we went with another production company, and what they did is that they rented out a club for the whole day. I mean, that was really awesome. They fed us and all this stuff, and we it was at least almost 12 a full day, 12-hour day. We started early at 8, and I think we ended up getting out of there about around 11 o'clock that same evening. But just show you the backing that Voss Records had, or the financial end of the backing, to rent out a club for us to do that video. So um, we produced it. Me and Chris produced it. We were able to do our arrangement, and we was also the mixers of it, and also we got like we own the material as well. So um, the record, the video, and the CD. Um, I'm trying to think of the name of that. It a lot of friends of mine saw the video, and I was at work one day, and somebody said, "Hey, you're a star. You was on BET or something like that." And then I'm like, "said No, I ain't there yet. I ain't ready to quit the job." But it was a very unique experience to go through that whole procedure from an ideal at home to actually producing a CD. It was really a great. It was
Yeah.
education for me too on how the business was going.
Mm.
So is there a CD of that, or just a 45, or what?
No, it's a CD. Yeah, it's
Is
a
it
CD
available
of it.
anyplace online?
Yeah, you can go online on it. They're still selling it,
Oh,
but
really?
it's like, yeah, they're still selling, but that's like New Jack. It's kind of like old school. Have you heard it when a piece of it came out there? It was like New Jack Swing. I mean, but
Hmm.
still, you can order it on if you
Okay.
go on
Yeah.
Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, I want to get one. Uh, let me see. I think God, we can talk all day. I've got all kinds of notes here, but
Dad
this is
is
good.
my father is a walking Nebraska music book. You know what I mean? So
I got to write
uh,
one, but I got time.
and for years he's been talking about the Beck Rogers family. So this is just an absolute joy to hear some of these stories unravel and to hear about that house. It just gives me shivers, man, because that's how growing up my grandmother's house was. You'd walk in and hear, you know, all kinds of music, and everybody, it brought music brought the family together, and that's exactly
And
what
you
it
know, but
was.
all of you guys have said in Carol how the area or how these communities kind of just go like this. Carol leads me to a little bit of something we're going to play at the end of the show. But you mentioned Bruce Conti out in the Bay Area, Brad Cordell, who I go back to when he was a little kid, like 8 years old, was from Fremont and was in my mother's choir. Mom was a choir director and the organist. And when Cordell got to be about 15 or 16, he just had developed this incredible voice. And he was gigging early. And Mom would always, it'd be like 15 till 11, and Brad hadn't showed up to church yet. So Mom would have to go in the office and call him. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still in bed." And she'd have to roust him out and have his parents or himself drive down to the church. But anyway, I two things on that. When Brad stayed out or played out in Las Vegas for quite a while, I don't know how long, maybe 5 or 10 years, and he was in a band with Mike Finnegan and Bruce Conti,
Oh
I
wow.
think, or he knew him somehow. There
Yeah,
was
no,
some kind of ties between
yeah.
Brad Cordell and Bruce Conti and the great Mike Finnegan. If you don't know him, but he's incredible. Uh,
Brad knew everybody. Brad makes friends with everybody. Brad was in Vegas and he met everybody, man. I
yeah.
mean, me and Brad would talk, and I love Brad, man. That cat he was soulful.
Oh yeah.
That cat, man. I said, look at this cat up, man. This cat up here killing the blues. I said, oh my God, I ain't gonna. And he and I sang together. Carol, you on the gig? Me at the when we did Jazz on the Green. Brad sang with us. Carol and myself and Brad Cordell, man.
So
Keep
then that leads me to
keep
the
doing
first
her
time
too.
I ever
Belong
heard
there,
Carol
man.
sing live. Didn't know you. I knew who you were,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the place, but you guys will remember. It's in the old market, and it was a cigar bar. Do you know what I'm
That was
talking about?
the Savannah Garage, I believe they call that.
Yeah, Havana Garage. So I'm in there to see Brad, and he had some type of band going on. And all of a sudden he goes, "I'm really going to bring up this lady. She's going to sing a couple for you. Her name's Carol Rogers." And Carol gets up with Brad, excuse me, sang your butt off. It was just, he was doing some heavy shuffle blues, some funk, and you were getting down. And I thought, "Oh, I knew who you were," but I'm thinking you're going to go, "I'm in the mood for love." No, 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 no. Right? No, no. I mean, you can do that, obviously, but that night, you probably sang a set with the Brad Cordell Blues Band. It wasn't the Jailbreakers, but it was a good band. It was some of the guys from the Breakers. And
Wow.
Mike doesn't know this yet, but when we get done with this, I found, or maybe you have to tell me if I can show this. I was looking at YouTube and sent Mike Jr. some stuff ahead of time. I found a video on YouTube, and you have to give me permission or not to play this, but it is a kicking. I can't remember if it's shuffle blues or funk, but it's with the Dr. Spit playing the harp.
Dr. Spit.
And he's playing about a 2 or 3 minute harp, either a shuffle or a funk, and then he goes, Carol, Carol, get on up, and you are just amazing. So it's only on about a minute and a half of the video I found, but I'd like to have Mike when we take
I
this out,
recall
have
that,
him
and
play
it
that.
was.
And then I want to play Ronnie Beck's video we found with Power doing What Is Hip, where they give you kind of a drum solo toward the end. It's about a 4 minute deal. That's a great video. Somewhere out, I don't know where you're at, but it's a great video. So
Now that
I
was
want
in
to conclude
Chicago.
this with those two cuts. As after we say goodbye, and congratulations for your induction to Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame. And someday, sometime, we're going to get you all back and put on a show. And then we'll get you a real plaque rather than a piece of paper. We'll do the real deal. But you're officially inducted to the Hall of Fame. And we'll all be working to see this pandemic gets done. And we got to get y'all back sometime down the road, and we'll find some great supporting musicians. You guys all know them. I know them. We'll put together a little band and try to get you some 2, 3, 4 paid gigs around the area to pay for your trip, and then we'll have a induction somewhere during one of those gigs. It's going to be a little more difficult to orchestrate, but we'll get her done.
Well, we were planning on, Keith and I are planning on coming back in August anyway, so get busy, man. We need to find us a couple of gigs, man. I know I can probably do the Jewel, and we can put something together for that. So
I'll find you something.
you and I need to talk anyway, man. So
Yeah.
you connected
Yeah.
with some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I own a record label, and we do all kinds of really great promotion for the modern day of how it works with Spotify and all that stuff. So it's a different ball game these days, and I'd love to tell you what I know. So it's good stuff. But great. Well,
Ron,
go ahead, Dad.
when is the roughly when you're going to be back? Omaha days. When is that?
About first week in August this year.
Okay.
It starts on July 26th or something like that and goes through that whole first week of August.
Okay, I'm making notes here. We'll be in touch and we'll see if we can help out and do something.
Grover Lipkins is over here talking about I'm gonna play here a lot. People are checking us out, man. I love Grover.
He wants to play.
McDonald, McDaniel, Midge McDaniel. Do you guys know Midge?
No, I don't think I do. Who is it?
Great historian, Paul B. Allen III again. So yeah, we're getting a little traction here on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Malcolm Adams, who I was with yesterday for all night. Yeah, with Mike and Mike. I want to say thank you for inviting us and honoring us in this way and recognizing the gift that our family gave to the city of Omaha and a lot of people. We touched a lot of lives. My mom's definitely touched a lot of lives through her music and through being in OPS, Omaha Public Schools, man. We can go to the grocery store, people working, and they say, "Hi, Miss Rogers," back in the students, okay? So,
Yep.
and there's a great heritage that you guys are a part of because you guys, Mike Sr., you definitely were in the game back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And I want to see that come back because Omaha needs it. That culture that we had established back then in a couple of little spots. We only need 1 or 2 spots where we can go and play and learn.
That's right.
Those are young guys to how it's really done. So I say thank you, and I'll be back now. I'm talking to some people myself about getting involved in some music education.
Well, we'll be in touch between, hopefully all 3 of you, we can get together and hang and maybe come to a couple of gigs easily.
We'll make it happen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to include that educational thing, like you said, Ronnie. We should do that, man. That'd be a huge influence to a lot of people around Nebraska.
Yeah,
well, we get some kids off the street, man. They out there learning how to shoot guns and sell drugs, man. We used to play music.
Yep.
That was our record.
Well, I think I mentioned going in is really the main mission statement of our Hall of Fame is for kids. And it's about the kids in the music or performing. It could be a dancer. It could be a show tune. It could be violin or a tuba. I don't care. But it's performing And the way we get there is to induct, and what's the other part of our mission statement is to recognize very excellent and high level Nebraska musicians, maybe raise a buck or two, and then give it to the kids, give them lessons, give them instruments, give them gigs, whatever we can do. Like I say, that we got to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Keith, you were saying something. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that in ending things off here, collectively, first of all, you know, our brother Donnie Beck, he's not with us, but he's also with us in spirit. I mean, he was a part of this legacy. Donnie, one thing for sure, he taught a lot of young bass players back in Nebraska. Everybody wanted to be like Donnie Beck, and he was one that had a lot of patience teaching young guys that wanted to come up. And I don't want to leave out saying something really wonderful about him because he was also my mentor too. He taught me a lot. And I don't want to leave out my middle sister, Anne Renee Beck. You know, she was a part of the family too. She was special. She basically, because I have to understand that she didn't have a twin, but she still played a really impactful, important role to the whole family. Like I said, though, she could sew stuff. She used to make vests and stuff like that. And presently, right now, she's actually a minister, and that's saying a lot for her. And I want to say, and I know I'm speaking for everyone else, we appreciate her as well, even though she's not a part of this podcast. I don't want to leave that. I don't want that to be a void that we don't mention that and let her know that we appreciate the impact she had on our family as well, because she went through it all with
Takes
us.
a village.
Takes a village. We could carry on and maybe we could do something down the road, talk about Anne Marie, talk a lot more about Donnie and a lot of the people he played with.
Yes.
Talk about your mom some more. I mean, I'd do it, except I gotta stretch my butt. But oh, come on, old man.
Yeah.
But they got to be included more than we did. We were pretty much talking about the three of you, but Donnie was an excellent musician and a big list of people he recorded with, and Anne Marie being the minister and being part of this whole thing.
Yes, it's Anne Renee.
Or Anne Renee. I'm sorry, Anne Renee. I bet.
Yes, Anne Renee.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, thank you very much. We're going to sign off, and everybody will be in touch. I want to hang out and find out, see if we can help you get some gigs in Omaha and hang out and meet in person. It's been a while.
So before we go, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on this video podcast, and thank you so much to Ronnie, Carol, and Keith. Thanks for joining us from all over the world. Carol's in Omaha, so she's not too far from us. But I'm gonna play this video of Carol getting down, if you don't mind. Can I play that one time?
Mike, play the one with Dr. Spit with Carol singing, and then finish.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Sign off, and then play the Tower of Power thing with Ronnie.
Right now, okay.
Music, okay.
So here's a little Carol getting down. All right.
Rock
Yeah.
Oh my.
Get it, girl. Woo!
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. That was some. I loved it.
It's it's far from a bossa nova.
Yes, it's not a shadow of your smile. No,
Exactly.
but you did
Wow.
even in
Wow.
Japanese. Wow, that's
That was
quite.
soulful.
I
What you
love it.
talking
I love
about?
it.
That was soulful. Hey,
Thank
hey.
you.
All right.
I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
We
Wow,
got to
girl.
sign off. Mike, put on that Tower Power thing, and we'll close
Yep.
that out.
Okay, I'll
We'll
put
talk to
this
everybody
on
soon.
and we'll say goodbye to everybody. Okay. So adios. Much love to you from all around the world. Don't forget to throw a few bucks to the Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame. I'll put up a little banner where the address is right here, and you can either Venmo us or PayPal some bucks so we can keep bringing amazing families like the Beck Rogers family on and do cool things like this for years to come and keep this music alive and immortal, man. That's what I'm talking about. So much love to you guys. We'll see you later.
Arigato gozaimasu.
All right, check this out.
On drums, a young man, my closest buddy, Ronnie Beck. Tell me if you think you know what is hip. If you're really hip, the person is Michelle. What is hip? Tell me if you think you know what is hip. If you're really hip, the person is Michelle. What is hip? I don't know, yeah. What is hip? Is it in the style of the man? What is hip? Is it in the clothes that you wear? Is it in trying to take my star? Is it in trying to be a movie star? I got to know what is it, y'all? Now can you tell me what is it, yeah? How do you know? Is it the hand that blows the tires out the tire wanna be? Hey,